Finally got outside to do my first open water swim of the season. This is week 25 of the vlog. This week I'm going to give you 5 tips in order to make your bike faster. All these tips are inexpensive, so you don't have to spend a lot of money in order to save a lot of time out there on the bike. Your bike position. It shocks me at the number of people who spend all sorts of money on a brand new tri-bike and then their position is just terrible. Whether they ended up on a frame that's far too big for them, far too small for them, or they're just way too upright. A lot of times they said that they've been through a fitter and it's how they set them up, and I don't know what this fitter has been thinking, but you just end up in really terrible positions. And when your body accounts for about 80% of the drag when you're on a bike, you really need to make sure that you're in a good, strong aero position in order to be more efficient cutting through the air. So big misconception is that you need to be really flexible, and it's super difficult in order to hold a strong aero position. And while this might be true for the most uber aero positions that exist out there, just a good solid position that isn't true. Triathlon bikes have a steeper seat angle so that you're able to rotate around the bottom bracket, so that naturally you can move from that same position where you might have been more upright to when you rotate around the bottom bracket, you're in a lower, more aero position, so that you do have more weight on your aero bars, but you're able to cut through the air much better. Clean your drivetrain. Although the drivetrain isn't nearly as sexy as the newest aero products that exist, it's an area where you can save yourself a ton of time on race day. If your gears and chain are full of grit and grime and you haven't lubed it, then that's an area where you're going to be losing a lot of power every time you go around with the pedals, because all of that grit that's in there is going to dissipate the power that you're trying to deliver to your rear wheel. So by cleaning your drivetrain, you can either do it with a brush and a cloth and some bike cleaner, or if you really want to get in there, you can use an ultrasonic cleaner to really clean it up. And then after you've cleaned it, you want to make sure that you do a good job at lubing it. In the past, I've gone the paraffin wax route. More recently, I've switched to using squirt lube because it's a lot easier to use. Make sure that you use a high quality lube, because not all lubes are created equally. And if you're going to go to the effort of actually cleaning your drivetrain, you want to make sure you're getting the most out of it. Latex tubes. Latex tubes have to be one of the cheapest and easiest ways to save time on race day. By switching to latex tubes, you can save yourself about 5 watts. I've been told that they're far more prone to flats, they're very difficult to install, but from my experience, that's just not true. Sure, you have to be careful when you're installing latex tubes, but I really think you should be careful when you're installing any sort of tubes, making sure that you're not pinching it when you're inflating it. And also, before every ride, you're going to want to make sure that you inflate your latex tubes, because they lose air quicker than traditional tubes. But again, I think that you should be checking your tires before every ride anyways. So they're really easy to use and a really great way to save time on race day. The only thing that you do want to remember is with latex tubes, you don't want to have them in your flat kit, because CO2 won't do a good job at inflating them and it will leak out. So for CO2 you want a traditional tube, but when you're prepping your bike for the race, definitely put in latex tubes. Fast tires. There's no reason to be running Gatorskins on race day. A tire like the Continental GP4000s II has more than enough flat protection, and it'll save you about 15 watts compared to Gatorskins. If you're willing to go a little bit riskier with a little bit less flat protection, then a tire like the Continental GP4000s is a great tire to use, and that'll save you closer to 20 watts compared to a set of Gatorskins. Be smart about your nutrition. You don't need to roll out a T1 looking like you're ready for a picnic with all the food and bottles you have strapped to your bike. Best place to put your bottles are either between your arms or putting a bottle or two behind your seat. Any bottles on your frame, they're going to end up costing you aerodynamically. Also, you want to think about where you're going to keep any food that you're eating and do your best to tuck it out of the wind, because anything that you're strapping on your bike is going to end up slowing you down. Thanks for watching this week's video. Hopefully it'll help you be a little bit faster in your next race. Until next time, happy training.
Oh, this you crazy mother.